I want to look up a particular Rashi, but I can't seem to find the Rashi even though I saw it earlier. Rashi discusses the idea of, I think it's this week's Parsha. I can't remember if this week or last week's Parsha, but Rashi mentions the idea of receiving the second set of tablets. I think it might have been last week's Parsha. Rashi says over there that just like the first time we received the Torah and we received the first set of the Luchos, the tablets, that was done in a period of joy, and it was a period of where Hashem showed His tremendous love for us. So too, at the last ones, when we received the second set of tablets, that was also in a time of great favor. It was a time of, Hashem really showed His true love for us, and therefore, Rashi says, what do we learn from that? And the middle time was because that there was a time when Hashem was in tremendous anger over the Jewish people. So when we first received the first set of tablets at Har Sinai, and right before Moshe broke them, which means that when we had that first moment, those 40 days, that was a time when Hashem really had a deep connection to the Jewish people. Moshe comes down, breaks those tablets, and then obviously it's a time of chaos, of anger. Moshe has to daven, saves the Jewish people from annihilation, and then after that he goes up for the third time and comes down at Rosh Chodesh Ellul for the last set. So the Moshe goes up to the mountain 3 times for 40 days, 3 distinct times for 40 days, and the last time that he comes down is going to be Yom Kippur. When does he go up to that last set? The last set that he goes up is Rosh Chodesh Ellul, is the beginning of Ellul, which is 40 days prior to Yom Kippur, 40 days prior to Yom Kippur. Therefore, what does it teach you? That set of 40 days from beginning this Shabbos or Sunday, when Rosh Chodesh is the new month of Ellul is, that is a time of great appeasement that the Jewish people have with Hashem. Which means in the spiritual forces, in the spiritual spheres that we live in, every time has a specific purpose that we live through, certain things, experiences, certain mazalos, certain spiritual forces that exist during that time. As we bypass the time of Tammuz and Av, which are considered somewhat negative, we get to the part of after the middle of Av, which is Tu B'Av, which is now the rebuilding, and then we begin what's known as Elul, which is a time of appeasement. So that's when we actually received that's when Moshe went up for the second set. It's not just him that he came down with a trophy, guys, I have the second set of tablets for you, but rather those 40 days, which began on Rosh Chodesh Elul, those 40 days were the most special, pristine days that the Jewish people had. That was part of our rebuilding process that we had. That's what Rashi says over here. The first set were the first set, Baratzon Hashem wanted to give the tablets before we sinned. The second set were also with Ratzon, with desire, but in this case here, Hashem had a deeper level of love for us because of the fact that we felt the distance and now we built ourselves together. Therefore, there's a greater sense of love that Hashem has for us during that time. Interesting, someone showed me a piece from the Lubavitcher Rebbe yesterday who he's quoting, I think, 2 Rebbes before him, and the question was presented as follows. He said he was writing a letter asking what they should do after they had a tremendous, I think it was a flood. It was a flood that ravaged the town. And he wanted to know what is the sign. What does that actually mean for us? So he quoted from previous generation. I didn't remember who he quoted from. He quoted from previous generation that the sign was that when there is a state of din, a state of strict justice upon a person or upon a community or a town, that strict justice, as bad as it is actually a sign for rachamim, that compassion is going to come. And he quotes, I think it's from the Gemara. The Gemara says that rachamim, compassion, is much more powerful than chesed, much more powerful than simple kindness that a person does. When does racham come? When does compassion come? Compassion specifically comes after a time of din, after a time of justice. So when there's a harshness on a person's life and they don't know how they're going to deal with it, they should recognize that opens the door for rachamim, for compassion. And there he says that compassion that Hashem gives, that is where true osher, that's where true wealth actually comes to a person. Not simply chesed. Hashem can do chesed for us on a daily basis. But real rachamim, which presents itself in such a way of an overabundance, that comes after a time of din. So we see over here, when it comes to the Jewish people and the second set of luchos, there was a strict justice that was upon the people, yet that led to the second tablets, that second set of tablets, which is the whole Elul procedure that we're about to go through, is about developing a much stronger relationship and having an even more beautiful relationship with Hashem. That leads us to Yom Kippur. So this is something that we have coming up the next couple of days as we enter into the world of Elul. It's a time for us to really contemplate our relationship that we have with ourselves and God, and how we're able to truly focus on what it really means to have a great relationship with Hashem. Rabbi Nachi Klein says